Hey y'all, it's Bohemia with Bohemian Stars and Ocean Heart Readings. We are doing a reading about psychics today. My voice is, I got that husky sick going on, but hopefully it makes my voice louder so you can hear me better. So we are going to tap into messages that you need right now and some guidance and insight as far as your psychic path, okay? We have three different piles here, an array of messages, we have some songs, and a lot of oracle and tarot. So I'll link the decks below, and feel free to socialize with each other and connect. I love when everyone's connected and getting to know each other. Also check out my Facebook page because that has a lot of astrology. I will be bringing that knowledge to YouTube, but I'm doing like a lot of posts daily about different transits and things, and we're on Insta as well. Excuse me. So my voice, I'm actually getting better, and my voice is sounding crazy, but it's because I did that video. Watch that one too, the financial one, last night, and my voice was like, what? I thought we was sick. But it's fun. It's getting to that point that it's gonna be that fun kind of husky cracky, right? Or my what is that Phoebe voice? My sexy Flynn voice. Okay, so hopefully you've had enough time to zone in and pick. We have Amethyst, a beautiful dark tumbled amethyst. And a tip for those of you who are psychic, you should always have amethyst around, and the darker the better. These stones will really protect you, especially if you're going through a psychic awakening. If you have young psychics around you, really keep that around. And the stone might eventually crack at some point, or just straight disappear or fly off your finger if you're wearing a ring. The stones, crystals are alive. We have to really, remember to respect them, and they take a lot of energy for us and really help us out. So amethyst these are all stones that I think are crystals that are really good for psychics. So the next one we have is Lapis Lazuli. And we can see those flecks of pyrite in there because lapis has pyrite. Isn't that beautiful? Again, another deep stone really sitting in its element and minerals here. So yes, that's for number 2. This is very good for the third eye. It actually really helps with psychic headaches. If you get headaches when you get downloads, I always forget. And then I have this big, pretty flat palm stone of lapis, and I'll put it on, and it really will truly make your headache go away. And I'm like, why was I sitting here for hours with this headache? And I just always forget until the end to grab my lapis. This one here is beautiful. I totally encourage you to look this stone up because in its bigger slabs, it looks like slices of the ocean in the sand. See that? This is Hemimorphite. So this is very good for all of that psychic, emotional energy, and just, kind of all that Piscean type energy, which I connect with, of course. So it just looks like ocean and sand there. All right, so these are the 3 piles that we have. We have 1, 2, and 3, or amethyst, lapis, and hemimorphite, and I'll have those timestamped below. So go ahead and pick, and we will get into the reading. All right, I'm excited for this one. This one's been waiting and brewing since the conjure reading. So for those of you who chose number 1 or amethyst, and we just started this when my camera said 333. So, and I just left this stone here because this is a very good emotionally and psychic calming stone. It is blue lace agate in the rough, and that's very good for balancing emotions but still being able to communicate. And I need a little throat chakra help right now with this voice. Okay, so we have the Ace of Feathers, which is the Ace of Swords. Soulmate, okay. Dragonfly, Transformation, Magic, and Illusion. Reaching for your dreams, go for it. We have the 2 of Wands. We have Peace. The Emperor reversed. The Knight of Cups reversed. The Warrior, be fearless and stand strong. I love that we got Peace and the Warrior, so we definitely have some dualities we're going to talk about. And we have Temperance, which blends together those juxtapositions in your energy. This is from the Orosoma Tarot, the first original one, and so it connects with these colors here. And so those could be colors that if you do like color energy when you're in your psychic realms, and you visualize color as ways of healing or understanding what energies or auras that you're working with, these could be colors that are ones you're trying to blend out, or get to merge, or colors that are very healing for you to meditate on and kind of see what they have to offer you in your spiritual realm. Okay. So we have a lot of messages here. You are here to use your gifts. Definitely we have communicate. So you are someone who is meant to give your messages to others that you see. So if that is something that you have not done yet or really gotten into, we have the delivery of messages. Now we do have it with the peacock. Peacocks can be, like very direct and plucky. They're very confident, but at the same time, they are known for being very beautiful as well. And so we have your energy here of mixing this intense, fierce, protective energy, like this message needs to get out, with also some, beauty and some calming and some, not really downplaying the message, but also just having some tact. That's what we're seeing, having tact with your delivery of messages. This could be something that some of you have struggled with, because we have the Emperor who's like, well, I'm right, I know what I'm talking about. But then we have the Knight of Cups that's like, well, I don't really want to rock the boat. And so some of you might have gone through different phases of each of those on your psychic journey, or you might just feel that internally, like you might not want to rock the boat, so you don't say anything, but then you get fed up later when you're like, see, I hinted at this and no one listened to me, and dang it, I'm good at this, so you might kind of go back and forth between those energies. You also, like, there's a lot of, again, dichotomy and duality in your energy, because in some ways you're very young. You have a very youthful approach. You might be on the path and just learning a lot of things, but at the same time, you have a part of you that is very wise, and like the things you know extensively, and the things you don't know yet, you're kind of a baby in. And it's kind of letting yourself have both of those worlds and be okay with that, and find your own inner balance, and not feel like, well, I'm really good when it comes to automatic handwriting, but when it comes to clairaudience, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to quit because I feel embarrassed that I'm not the boss of it. And so this is like, no, you don't have to be the boss of every realm. It's okay to allow yourself to develop and to slowly break open additional gifts. Another thing that we have to talk about here is allowing yourself to maintain more than one side of the argument psychically. So for instance, you have the warrior and you have peace. So you are definitely here to use your psychic gifts to like I said, people are drawn to my channel at some point. It's divine rebels is the energy that I connect with. So there's a part of you that is meant to tear down systems that don't serve people, to do all of the rebel and the emergency kind of response that's needed to truly build another world and another realm, and not just be like, oh, I'm meditating about it, so it's fine. Like, no, you have to look the real world in the eye. You have to stand up for things. You have to address and know what's going on, and not spiritually bypass. And so those of you who chose number 1, you're really meant to do that, because we have the Emperor reversed with the warrior. So it's like, no, if this is not helping this world and healing this world and empowering this world, I'm going to address it in every realm. I'm going to address it on the spiritual level. I'm going to address it in the social mystic circles. I'm going to address it at the, I almost said the box office, but yes, maybe with, what you feed, what you boycott, what you petition, what you vote for. So you guys are very, very spiritually, like, kind of watching yourselves, like higher self wise, and your soul mentors, your spirit mentors. Really pay attention to how you treat things in this realm. Do you ignore everything around you and just be like, well, I'm a psychic, so la 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 la? That's not your path. Like, you are meant to address things and to hold space for both sides. Okay, there's a big threshold energy here. He's holding space between the threshold, or they, because it's silhouette, and this person as well, holding space. As a matter of fact, I might have some of my 2 spirit people in this group, because this is a card that shows this is a card that shows this. So all, like, you might have physically embodied that experience of holding transition energy or holding more than one energy of what the outside world says you can do. But you're like, no, this is a blend. This is my, it's a higher energy. It's a higher message. It's not subject to the boxes and check marks of what they're telling me to do in this particular realm. I'm coming from a higher energy, a higher space, channeling down, worlds and realms and mixtures of energy that haven't even been brought here, and that, I'm awakening, and I'm tearing down structures here that don't fit, that are limiting us for what we really need to do, which is why you have reaching for our dreams. So you are meant to be a mover and shaker spiritually. You are meant to not just sit there with the status quo, not just, well, this is what I can get away with, or this is the least I have to do as a spiritual person. Like, you are meant to be out there on the front lines, both handing out water and saying, screw these things that are messing up this realm for us. And it's still love. Like, I think that's, some of you may be learning that lesson, that love has active energy with it, that spiritual energy can have active energy. Now, this is not like proselytizing or like crusading, but it is standing up for those who deserve to be protected, right? We have a mother with a child here. We have the warrior, that kind of energy. There's things that are just, things that are precious and innocent in this realm, and others who don't deserve to be victimized. So your spiritual energy is really meant to address those kind of things. And you might have a lot of people that need those messages when they come to you psychically. They might be need to be told, like, hey, you're supposed to be one of the warrior hearts. You need to get on your stuff. You need to stand up to this stuff around you and address things, right? And some people are going to come that are really the ones who need the nurturing and who need the care and who need to be protected, and they need your spiritual guidance for that. And you have a beautiful way of being able to hold open both energies. I also strongly suggest that you do not just focus on one gender group or gender identification group. This is something that I see happening a lot on YouTube, and it's not to tell anyone how to do their channel or anything. Some people do feel like they're more connected with divine masculine, divine feminine, or other spectrum energies, and that's what they're doing. I don't feel like that's the case for you. I feel like you are meant to bring inclusion. You are meant to connect to a blend of energies, and not just say, oh, hey, my channel is for, women only, or my channel is for, so I'm seeing here that you're meant to connect with everybody and to bring your messages to a very wide audience, and to be extremely inclusive in all ways too. I'm seeing religious inclusion. I'm seeing all of those kind of things. So if that's something that it's been hard for you because you feel like you want to bring in a lot of different people and it hasn't been meshing, it's because you're someone who is helping this world mesh or bring together those energies in a healthy way. And I say a healthy way because we have the Two of Wands, and see all those like Vesica Pisces and Venn diagrams. It's not to make, in the background there, it's not to make anyone, it's not to appropriate, it's not to smash people's boundaries. It's to bring in a healthy blend where everybody is equally acknowledged and safe and elevated and able to rock themselves and feel like they can still connect with you. So yeah, there's no negative having to, like, some of you might feel like, well, I have to do my psychic gifts this way, or I need to pretend to be Native American, or I need to do like all this weird stuff that goes on in the spiritual community. Like, I need to grab and take and do these things because that's what's trending and that's what works. No, you're meant to just be authentically your path, yourself, your culture, even your religion, and just bring your gifts through that, and just be open and truly honestly let others be who they are when they come to you, and it will naturally blend. And it might take a little bit longer because people don't know how to just be open and let people be. And so sometimes you might have groups that don't even seem like they would get along, but they're all in your clientele, or they're all people who are drawn into your life, or they're all in the audience that you reach. But it's really good. You're someone who can bring in, a lot of different people together. So just go with that, and just handle that in a very respectful, honorable way, which I think you obviously can, and that will be really good. Now, I see that we have soulmate energy here. And we have the Two of Wands here and the Temperance. So you are someone who really will help people find their soulmate energy. You can do a lot of those kind of readings, but it's not really stuck to just like kind of basic love. Like you're not about basic stuff, and it's not to the point where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna have soulmate only readings and it's just gonna be fluffy and it's gonna just be like what people want and what makes them feel good. I see you getting to the real truth of things, right? Because we have the Knight of Cups reverse, so you're not going, your spiritual gifts aren't meant to be used for kind of just letting people assume what they want and getting away with themselves and being very disillusioned and, you know, offering a cup to someone who doesn't even want it and who's choosing of their free will that they don't want it. We have the Ace of Swords here, which is clarity, and it's connected with the peacock feather here, which is Hera, which is wisdom. It's also Oshun, who is, you know, a love spirit, Orisha. So I feel like that love is there, but you're not really going to hoodwink people because of it, or you're not going to let them just kind of trick themselves, because we have the warrior here, which is like, be fearless and stand strong. Like you want people to authentically connect to their real spiritual partners, to their real spiritual groups. And I think that's really good, because I think it's very necessary, because I see a lot of, we were talking about this on the chat on Natalie Hughes's channel. She was doing a live chat, and so I was just chatting with her. She was saying a lot of things that were awesome and on point, so check her out. But you know, just kind of that energy where we don't want to use our spiritual gifts to keep people in a space where they're chasing after relationships that aren't for them, just because they're like, oh, it's my twin flame, or they're staying in toxic cycles or things. You're somebody who can really develop a very good psychic gift of being able to see those lines, like, nope, this isn't, you know, or this is the connection of your soulmate relationship. This is what it means. This is how it's healthy. This is how it's not. You know, this is, you need it or you don't. You can get very, very clear. Some of you will get so sharp on that, it'll be like, no, yes, no, yes, stop, cut that off, that one right there. You know, it will be very, very succinct. And I think that's an awesome thing, because it's very needed right now, because people want love. We don't, you know, I'm a Pisces, I got Neptune and 12th house stuff and all this kind of stuff in my chart. I love love, but I don't like to see love be tainted or used to delude ourselves to the point that we're hurt or someone else is hurt in a way that's not just, you know, the lessons of life that happen in relationships. But you know what I mean? Like, and so that's the Knight of Cups here, can really get away with itself. I also feel like psychically you can provide that for others when they are getting a little bit too I feel like when people are on the threshold of breaking into their psychic gifts and they're at that point where they're seeing the conspiracies and they're seeing like, oh my God, like what's going on in this realm, and they're about to have like a breakdown, I feel like you're someone who can come in and give them peace and fortify them and say, yes, you're right. These things are going on. These, you know, this is how it is. These are things that you need to know, little one, but, you know, affectionately, right? Baby psychic, these are things that you need to know, but you're strong. Here's how you protect yourself. And you got Amethyst, remember? And that's always the starter stone. So if anyone is ever like, oh my gosh, I'm having psychic awakenings, I don't know what's going on, give them the Amethyst. So you have that ability to take people by the hand and say, you know, I'm going to help you through this, and it's going to be okay, and I'm going to teach you how to walk both worlds, or just encourage them as they do that themselves, so that they end up in a place of empowerment, transformation, magic, and illusion. So you really can hold that threshold energy. I think that you're very good at being able to kind of walk into others' energy fields. You could do some dream walking, or it could just be kind of checking out their auric layout and, you know, what's going on with them. And that can be a way that will help you be able to, of course, this is all with consent, right? And you have your boundaries here with the warrior, but that can be a way how you can go in and see, does this person connect with this person? Are the things that they want aligning, you know, energetically? Are they in alignment with themselves and with others? And how is that trickle out effect going? I think that you're someone who can do a lot with drawing down universal energies to heal people, like Reiki. And very good at, when you need to, tapping into people's higher self or people's guides to communicate. I also feel like a lot of people that are drawn to you, you have a lot of soulmates, okay? I'm going to let you know right now, you have a lot of soulmates. You have a lot of big soulmates in this world. So that's something you might have to keep yourself in balance with, because you can get very sidetracked and become the disillusional one and be like, oh my God, like, you know, and this person's already set up in their life. They have a different life. They've chosen a different path, but you're like stuck and obsessing, and you're not even developing your own psychic gifts because you are focused on this connection. So you have many different soulmates, even love soulmates. You have many different like long-term life partner options. And for a lot of you, they could even be, you know, a variety of different genders, or, you know, like you have so many. I feel like you're connected like to so many people on in so many levels. And so it's allowing yourself to connect with that, you know, that third eye energy, and look at yourself. Okay, for this path that I am choosing, which soulmate is the best option? Because if they are meant to be with you, they're going to be in the line of that path. You're not going to have to delay your psychic development, your life path, in order to go and be with this person, or like get caught up like, well, I want to have a kid, I want to, you know, do all this, right? You want to have a pet, you want to have your child, you want to, you know, settle down and all of this kind of stuff. Your psychic path means to move you very quickly. You might end up traveling or moving a long distance. I do see a lot of you working with children, like I said, and it could be developing like young crystal or indigo children, or working with rainbow children or something, or just the passion that some of you have for having your own child. And I see that that is in alignment. Like, you are meant to have a spouse, you are meant to, you know, have a family if that resonates with you, but you are not meant to be limited by that. So you don't have to feel like you have to close down your psychic gifts in order to maintain being able to be dateable, which I know is a tough thing, because sometimes we feel like, you know, it can be a little bit like, I was always told by a family member, like, it's lonely for a seer, whenever I would have trouble, because sometimes it is difficult to, you know, date someone who can see. Even if you're not saying it, they know that you can read them, you know. And that's for people who don't want to grow, or that's just not their thing. Some people don't care about spiritual things, right? So for you, you will be brought into people who do care, or who are on that journey of blossoming. Now, I'm like, wrap up the message here. I do see to not overly get burdened by that mantle, as far as when you are in close relationships. You don't want to become the emperor and like, well, I know how to do spirituality, I know, like, you're not as leveled up as me. You know, it's to remember that the people that you're teaching are also teaching you, and that's how we find balance. That's how we mix and mingle with others, and, you know, connect to others energetically in a way that's honorable, in a way that helps us to continuously stay youthful, even our spirits, and to learn. And so you have that message there too, like, be at peace. You don't have to have the pressure of always being like the super saiyan psychic or whatever, and you don't want to put that upon others when you're in a close relationship with them, or even, you know, to a certain extent, like your students or those that you teach. So just allow yourself to kind of be and blend, and think of it more like artistry. You know, you are maybe leading that class, but you're also seeing these talents and gifts blossoming out of other people as well. So I see clairaudience here directly, which is where you hear spirits and communication. You might hear words or songs, Neptune's and Pisces. So you see a ton of readers now connecting with songs. Oh, that's why they told me that. Okay, the song that I got for you was Psychic by Vanessa Hudgens. And it's a very, you know, some of you will be like, it's like one of those like pop, of course, you know her music, right? High School Musical, it's her older music. And it's talking about, should you go to a psychic for a love reading? And, you know, debating, should you go? Is the psychic gonna let you know? So some of you definitely, as we said before, will be holding that soulmate energy for others. So trust yourself, be honest and true. When you have the Warrior and you have the Ace of Swords, be honest with people. If you see them, you know, hanging up on, oh, this is twin flame, and it's not, or it's a toxic situation, and, you know, it's just not a healthy soulmate connection, be honest with people, because they're gonna have a new path for them and other options, and you'll be doing them a service. So I feel like you can give very accurate and very good love readings. So that is your psychic check-in. I will be doing this as a series, so we'll do more of these videos as we go along to help ourselves, you know, check in, get insights, and, you know, medicine for this particular aspect of ourself. So let me know how it resonated with you, and if you like this reading and this style of reading, and I will talk to you soon. Cleaning up the cards. All right, for those of you who chose the Lapis Lazuli, the Lapis, okay? We have the Eight of Feathers or the Eight of Swords reverse. I will have all the decks linked down below. We have Dancing. We have Father Sky, Trust in the Unknown. We have Growth. Page of Coins reverse. The World reversed. Power. Ten of Wands, sorry, those said swords. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. Now this is the Orosoma Tarot, and they have it's like two tarots in one. So they have like a earth level self version of the tarot and the higher self. So this is the higher self, Queen of Pentacles here. These are colors that are associated with her. This is a color energy working deck and system. So those could be colors that you see psychically or colors to nurture within your own aura or psychic energy. I would say especially so because look here, we have some similar colors with the pinks and the purple there. We also have some blues coming in, a lot of blues. Okay, and you did choose the Lapis. So this deck had probably the toughest message that came through. This deck I was really supposed to talk a lot, and the song kind of that I ended up channeling through confirmed that. This deck wanted to talk a lot about the power issues that can come with being a psychic, and that thing that we can slip into where we want to hurry up and kind of get ours and make a business out of our psychic gifts and get to the top and, you know, be better than everyone else and conquer all of that energy and the space that that can take us into. So it's not questioning that we can't be powerful and that we aren't meant to, you know, move in these circles, but it's saying that this energy of fear of not being good enough and not being at the top and others, you know, being successful or being recognized has really thrown off a lot of your psychic path for you. And it can lead to burdens that you're getting in the physical world because of this, as there's kind of like basically what I'm seeing is obstacles being put in your way by your spiritual crew because they're like, no, we don't want you to grow that fast at this moment. So for this particular reason, there's many reasons that we can have that happen, but for this particular reason, for those of you who chose number 2, it is because there is an underlying issue. I don't know how aware that you've been communicating with yourself about it, about power struggles and power issues when it comes to your spiritual gifts. So it might be because everything's trending and you're feeling like, I need to get my place. Why do they have this and I don't have this? You know, I have just as good psychic gifts, or, you know, I think I'm better at this than they are. Like, I should be the head priestess around here. You know, there could be so many things like that where it in turn that others around you are getting shut down and are not being able to kind of get theirs. I do see your path psychically, your energy closing down others around you from being as successful because you're worried that there's not enough space for you to grow, or you're not going to be as acknowledged as you want to be in the community or in business, or even for some of you the arts. But this is really based on psychic things. So the message here, and I will even bring in, your song was Are You Experienced by Jimi Hendrix. And at first I was like, okay, that's a cool song. But then when you listen to it, I was like, dang, Spirit, like, whoa, because it's like he's like saying basically like, you know, what are you so afraid of losing? And you're not even opening yourself up and your mind up to all that you could. Like, are you even experienced? Basically is kind of the energy that was coming through. Like, are you as experienced as you think you are? Now, this is not to say that, again, it's not saying you're not powerful or that you haven't gone through growth cycles, but Spirit is kind of being like, look, you better sit your hot butt down for a minute and, you know, sit down for a hot minute and listen here, because where you need to go and how you need to grow and what you think that you can accomplish isn't anything to where you're at right now, especially when you're holding these attitudes and kind of internal motives. And it's not to say maybe some of the people around you, they're doing some things that are unethical or they're not. I mean, come on, I see this industry too. I understand. But it's saying like, is not your place to be worrying about closing others down. Not saying don't call out people ethically, but this is like where there's jealousy. Let's just say it. There's jealousy going on. All right. There's jealousy, and there's this fear that I'm not gonna be able to do something because someone else is growing. And they're saying that you are now growing beyond that. They want you to grow beyond that. They want you to be successful. They want you to be empowered. They want you to acknowledge your own self-expression and make your own moves and have your own enlightenment and downloads. But they're like, you're not trusting. You have Father Sky trust in the unknown, right? So there is a mix of energies that are clashing here. Even in this card, they put this Odin looking guy, but it's a Father Sky card, which is from, the book even says, from native tradition. So it's just like, what is going on here? Like, what is going on? It's a clash of energies and trying to take on the whole world and wanting other people's energies. Like, you have to perfect your psychic energy. You have to trust in your psychic energy. You have to feel empowered in your psychic energy, and not just so you can overpower someone and be that bitch, right? I mean, it's good that we want to, be that person, but we have to want to be that person for ourselves. Those are the people who thrive, the people who have that sauce, but it's for themselves and it's just who they are, versus those who are trying to do it to overpower others or because there's that internal competition going, right? So it's kind of like, okay, how about you be competitive with yourself to be better than who you were? Because your Page of Coins to the world, it's like started from the bottom, now we're here. There could be a lot of earth energy. There's definitely a lot of earth energy. There's Capricorn here. There could be Taurus or Virgo, but mostly this is Capricorn. So it's, there could be Leo, and even some Sag here. Let's see, and some Gemini. Okay, but so really it's this feeling of, you're worried so much about jumping into the higher levels of everything that you want to do and getting there and expressing that you're missing a whole bunch of steps, right? And there are ways that you can take leaps and bounds that'll be okay, but not the way that you're doing it. So they don't want you to act out of fear anymore. They don't want you to have to project onto others you're needing to claim power or to claim your place in things. Like, you exist. Like, your gifts are yours because they're there. All right. And so I'm going to give an example. So like, if you look at like Sylvia Brown or some of the known psychics, when you read their stories and you see their energy just originally, like I'm like, okay, yeah, they were psychic. You can tell when they're younger. However, the energy they put out later when they're making all these books and they're claiming what they claim and all this, I mean, there's many times where the emergency alarms going by, what is it, the sirens, yeah, like you can feel their energy change where they've blocked their own gifts and they're just bullshitting. Like, they're straight lying. They're just making it up now, and they're doing it for the cameras and the screens. And you see that a lot for psychics who suddenly ascend and they lose their path and they get caught up. They do lose their past, right? They forget where they come from. They forget that they do intuitively and naturally have these gifts, and they get caught up in proving that they have the power and they're the best psychic and they're the most renowned and they're the Abraham Hicks of the time, or whatever, the Miss Cleo, these are Miss Cleo cards, or the Sylvia Brown of the time, and they just lose track and they get out of touch and they're no longer truly channeling, or they're giving tainted medicine. And so this is a check-in for you, because Spirit doesn't want you to go down that path. Now, I don't know, don't get mad at me about it, all right? Your intuition led you to this reading for a reason. So you need to, see, okay, yep, I was doing that. Maybe some of you, it was just today and you had a little attitude and you got upset about something and Spirit's like, hey, that's enough. Some of you, it's a thing, like it's a huge thing. And I know, because I've been, like I said, behind the scenes in this industry, and a lot of people are very egoic who do spiritual things and are very, I'm hearing those emergency sirens again. Some people might need to really pull back and see this as an emergency situation, because when you're a psychic and you have kind of tainted motives in doing your healing, you can put bad medicine into others, which people don't understand, and then they can start having the troubles and issues that you're having. So it's very important that we purify, and that's why this is coming down on you so hard. Again, not to belittle you or to say you don't deserve to succeed. It's saying, okay, you need to get back to basics. This whole ambitious, do everything to get everything, claim this, claim this, claim this, claim this, whatever from everyone in the world, and just do what you need to do to get ahead. No, they want you to be free and authentic and pure, and to follow your own growth cycles and realize, like, everyone has to do this. We all have to cycle around and, you know, address the same issues on multiple levels and in multiple ways. And so it's like you can't just go and steal someone else's growth path and try to get where they're being and disrespect their history and who they are and what it took to get to where they are as a psychic. And, you know, and again, we're right now, Neptune's in Pisces. We're in a very fast food spirituality. You know, people think they can comment on the videos, demand what they want. People don't treat psychics and readers and healers like the medicine that they are receiving. You know what I mean? It's like, no, tell me about my life and save my soul right now. And if you don't, I'm going to complain in your comments. Like, it's crazy. And it's like this power drive. So you guys might be reacting to that or embodying that energy, but it is to release that, right? Release this bird. It's a cockroach. Isn't that so gross? This deck, the 10 of Wands, the bundle is a cockroach. So they're like, this is like funky energy. You do not want to hold and carry anymore. You want to allow yourself to truly grow, to truly go through your own personal, you know, ceremonies and, you know, aches and pains to grow yourself. And so I would really just encourage you guys to maintain humility and to really listen to what your, you know, spiritual guides, your spiritual elders, if you are blessed to have them, your, you know, deities that you connect to, whatever your path is, to really listen to that universal feedback and to have patience. And I understand, because, you know, I can get frustrated with things and we want to argue and talk back and be a little saucy sometimes. But this is truly, and this is heart space. So these readings, they're not about how we're projecting or even how we're telling ourselves we're acting. This is kind of down to the core, you know, some kind of psychic medical attention for ourselves. And that's why I hope that people receive this message that way and utilize this reading that way, because it's kind of for us, you know, to help ourselves in that case. So thank you for this reading, and I wish you well on your journey. This will be a series, so we'll check back in and see, because we grow, of course, very rapidly a lot of times, and we'll be able to check in and see how we're doing, get new messages, things of that nature. So I'm going to move on to number 3. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I'll talk to you soon. Excuse me, clearing my little froggy voice over here. They're like little rascals. Let's see. All right, so for those of you who chose number 3, which is the Hemimorphite, this, okay, y'all special, okay? In a good way, you special, right? Because you had a lot of extra cards. So when I was drawing this, sometimes my daughter's asleep, sometimes she's awake, and she is, you know, little witchy baby magic. Her name in utero was Sesame, so when I found out I was pregnant, she was as big as a sesame seed. So that's a name you can use to refer to her by, is Sesame. That was her pre-birth name, and a name that we use for her. So yes, Baby Magic pulled a whole bunch of cards for you guys, and she's really on point. Even like when she was like a newborn and people would come to get readings, her energy, like how she responds, always correlates to the psychic energy and message that I'm picking up, because she's like this little Capricorn, and she, like, if the reading is like the person needs to not be with the person they're trying to date, she'll just have this like little old person look on her face, like no and then you'll read the cards and they'll be like no, right? And if the person is like, it's a good like love connection, she'll get so happy and she'll be cheering. And so she's always been like that since she was like just a couple months old, where she really can, like, she's a reader, a natural reader. So she likes to go and pull cards sometimes, and she's so sweet, because sometimes I'll be sitting there adulting and frustrated, and she'll bring, there's a few little decks I just let her have, and she tries to shuffle them so they're a little scrumpled up, but she has a little animal one. And so she came and she brought me like these really sweet cards from the animal deck. So she actually came and brought y'all some cards. So I'm going to do the reading, and then we'll look at the extra cards that she brought, which was very sweet. So you guys have some baby magic on your reading. So just giving a shout out to her and her precious little heart and spirit contributing. So what we have is, we have the 10 of coins, which is the 10 of pentacles. We have the Fool reversed, and this deck, the Orosoma Tarot, this is the first edition. it has the like the whole tarot, and then it has it as like its higher self, so it has a lot of cards. So this is the higher self tarot, and we see the deep shades of indigo that it has for the colors. So those could be colors in your auric field, colors to meditate on or to work with energetically in your own energy fields. Let's see. There is, you guys got Magic Guardian, unlock the magic within. So I would really suggest that you guys watch my conjure video for conjurers, which is for all magical people. I will be doing another one, probably entitled, magical folk or something soon. I'm already feeling that. They're like, do another one, do another one. You guys definitely are psychics who also probably witch and have true innate witching gifts. Not, you just do, and they probably meld in a way where, for instance, it's not just clairaudience, it's not just kind of mental, spiritual, psychic gifts, but that you actually can affect with your gifts. Almost like people are like, do you got powers? What are you doing over there? You guys truly have that. So unlock the magic within. We have the Queen of Cups, so there could be a lot of water signs here. We could have Aquarius, we could have Pisces, Cancer, Scorpios, Lucid Dream. Yes, so we definitely can have water energy here. We have some earth with the 10 of coins. Discernment. Wow. So you guys are you are on point when it comes to like that. Your third eye game is strong. Like you got it right there. High Council, okay? You are connected and respected. Like I said in my other reading, we'll get that on a shirt. We have Nine of Pentacles reverse, which is interesting because then we bounce back and we have the Ten of Pentacles, so we'll get into that. Five of Pentacles, right? So we got some little story here to look into. We have air, so all elements are present in this group, and I do feel like this is a large group. And then we have some cards from my darling daughter, so we're gonna look into these first, and then we'll check out the rest that she gave. So you guys have a very sweet but empowering energy, and it might really throw people off because they like you can catch people off kilter. Like they might meet you and they see you as this like very childlike, innocent, like your inner child can be so strong, and like even if you're older, you seem more like you have that precocious inner child energy, so like a wise inner child. And then you turn around and you're like wham bam, you're like this powerhouse of energy that's just like feels like you come with your own freaking legacy attached. And so people are just like, whoa, they don't know how to take your energy. I think that they're very fascinated by it, and I think that you have a beautiful way of being able to relate to people regardless of their walk of life, because you have such a spectrum of energy within yourself. Now, one thing for you definitely is you have that eye on the prize kind of energy. Like when you hone in onto something psychically or with your intuition, I think it's like that's what it is. Like it, you see it, it's there, and it's very hard for you to just like pretend that you don't see things. And maybe in your younger days or when you were newer in developing your gifts, you kind of did that. You try to ignore things, and it just literally it turns your world upside down when you do that. It just doesn't work. You have to really follow your psychic path, and you're someone that your physical life will be very affected if you don't acknowledge your psychic gifts. So even though like you're being a good person, you're doing the right thing, if you aren't like releasing the psychic energy in some way out into the world and using the information that you're getting, like your whole life can go off kilter. You're really meant to live that way. And some of you might have had some very like crazy, random, dire experiences when you were younger that really forced you to like you had to be a manifestor growing up, not because it was a trend. Like you had to believe and being able to pull things out of thin air and communicate with the ethers and just make things happen from like a spiritual level. And you might have had a very like wise, again, precocious understanding of that at a very young age. Now some of you are figuring this out a little bit later and you're like, whoa, that's what I was doing, like that's what that was like. So a lot of you, it's almost like in your own way that you've been taken on like these like dream world quests and made to kind of have those times in the wilderness or those times in the desert so that you would just like super jump forward into your gifts and just accept them. So you know how you see like the superhero movies and they'll put them under pressure to make their gifts come out, and they're like, we know, you know, that this person has these super healing gifts, like we got to put them under pressure to make that diamond to prove that they have this gene, this legacy to them. Now a lot of you are, you know, legacy witches and psychics, and I will include witching in this because you are the group that has the witches with the psychics. A lot of you have this inherited, and some of you have been neglecting this. You personally, maybe the generation right above you didn't really acknowledge it, or within the more recent generations, but this is something, honey, it is down the line, let me tell you. And I'm seeing people from all over the world. It is down the line, maybe on multiple sides of your family. People have had these very strong gifts. Now, to a certain extent, we're souls, so everybody has spiritual gifts to a certain extent, but I'm talking about like people where it's like, oh, you're a psychic, you know what I mean? Like you have that in your lineage and it's been there, and in your soul groups, you know, in your incarnations, like this has been like that's what you do. There's probably markers of it. There should be markers of it in your astrology. Like it's just, it's there, right? It's in your soul connections, in your contracts. So one thing here is trying to balance your root chakra energy with all this third eye crown chakra, because I feel like it's very easy for you to go into like this spiritual space, but when you do so, things hit the fan in the physical world and you're like, why is this happening? You know, I feel like I'm trying to be this really good person. Like, why do I feel like I'm punished? So if you are someone who's developing your skills, or you've still been scared of embracing them because you feel like you're getting punished for doing so, that's not the case. What it is just learning to balance the energy. You could look at it as throughout your chakras. It's also because you are powerful enough to call into your life, to conjure into your life what it is you need. And so spirits kind of like, they're here watching you, but they're like, you know how to do this. Like, they're like, why is Kobe Bryant complaining that he doesn't know how to do a layup? Like, do a layup. Could you just do the layup? Like, you know? And so some of you are like, man, like I can do 3-pointers. How come no one's helping me do this layup? You know? So a little sports terminology, but you know, so it's just like, if you don't do this, or some of you are okay, like you're like great bakers, but you don't go and get something from the fridge when you need it, and you're just sitting there upset like, man, how come no one helps me go get something from the fridge? You know, I'm this amazing baker and the universe won't even help me get something out of the fridge. And your spirit guides are just like, boo, if you don't open the fridge and get you something that you need, like, what are you talking about? This is elementary, Watson. Like, come on, you're over here Sherlock Holmes, and you can't do this basic thing. And I feel like that happens sometimes, and it could have, you know, this could affect in many areas of your life. Like even in school, we have the air symbol here. It could have been hard because your mind works so fast and you're getting so much information, and it's just in so many different realms, and then to focus on just mundane things, it just doesn't catch your attention. For a lot of you, you're not interested, and that's the part to really work on. Because if your physical body isn't prepared and in the right state, you can actually really run your physical body down. So think of like a copper wire that has a higher voltage than it can handle running through it and coursing through it. It's going to burn up that wire. So some of you who have been having some health issues or ailments, that could be why. It's not a case of, that's why you have to be tricky with like, or be careful, because it's kind of tricky when you think of like karma. Are you within karma, outside of karma, and all this kind of stuff? And you know, people like to throw that around very easily in spiritual communities. Oh, they're doing bad, that must be karma. No, sometimes it's just that we're learning how to embody, literally embody a higher voltage, so to speak, of spiritual energy that's coming through us. You have a very high threshold that you can handle of discernment and truth and all of these kind of things, but you also have to make sure that your anchor, your organic spaceship here, can handle that kind of download. So that can really be something to work on and pay attention to, because you're supposed to live a long life. Here is like, you know, you're supposed to have a long life of figuring it out and you know, go way into your crone years, very deep into it, and have that wisdom and that legacy to pass down to other generations. I definitely think that you are a group that should be, you know, you could record your notes or have a grimoire or, you know, a book of shadows or, you know, journal, whatever you call it for you, scrapbooking, to pass down these gifts and things. Talk to the younger children, because definitely the younger ones who are coming in, the ones who incarnate, they're already in that vibe, they're already in that energy. I also see some of you who have familiars that are just animals. Even your animals are like on a different psychic frequency. Like that's just who's drawn to you. Yes, I'm seeing animal helpers. So yeah, use that, use your touchstone as a witching person, and don't really get caught up in that. Like I've had where sometimes people, because I don't say all my gifts, I don't do that. I don't, like, not that there's anything wrong, but I don't brag on them, let's say it that way. And so I'm learning, and I've been prodded lately by spirit, you need to let people know a little more what you do. But I'm one of those low-key kind of people, right? So I'm just like, they should know that I do what I do, right? Work speaks for itself. But I've noticed in spiritual communities sometimes that people will be like, oh, well, I don't need to do witching, I don't need to do anything ritual because I'm so highly spiritual, like I'm above that. And so some of you, it's like, live in your body. You are here in a physical body, and acting like you're above a physical body when you are here in it is dishonoring to it. You need to honor your physical body and this experience and this glorious earth that we're in, and all of these, you know, elements of being in the physical realm. Like that is also a spiritual experience. And to come here and then neglect it and negate it and not experience what it feels like to be spiritual through your physical body, it's kind of silly, right? It's kind of crazy. So that's kind of a big encouragement to you, is to use those touchstones that you have physically to ground yourself, to connect, to give you different ways of experiencing your spiritual gifts. Now I definitely see in this group a lot of you might have, oh, what's the word? It starts with a T, where you can pick up an item someone has. Forgive me for forgetting the name at the moment. And you can read through the item. So if someone hands you, you know, or if you go to like a pawn shop or something, or if you're in Goodwill, it might get overwhelming because you can feel and read the physical memory in items. So that is something that you can work on doing. I also see people who can read palms, fingerprints, handprints, things of that nature. Some of you also can read faces, like energy read. Honestly, you guys can probably do any kind of divination, to be honest, but I'm seeing some very strong markers of this. But yes, there is the message here to do your spiritual work, your magical work, to take care of yourself financially. Your high council's here. They're here to help you. They aid you a lot through dreams. You probably, you know, are just like always, like you never fully sleep in this realm. You always just go to other realms. You're very in touch with communicating to spirits on the other side. Even, you know, those that aren't born yet, those who have passed over, you just have a very direct connection to the other side of things. And yeah, they're just kind of like, no, we think you got it. We think you got it. So basically, you're going to do as well abundantly as you think that you can do abundantly. And it might sound so frustrating and like, no, that's not it. But it's true. They're kind of like watching you. It's like when you're watching someone ride a bike, you know, at a certain point, their legs will determine how far they can ride that bike. There's only so much that the parent can do, unless they want to completely hold them the entire time, kind of thing. So you're like, no, like a lot of you are, you can check your birth chart to see, but a lot of you in this group are, you know, very old souls. And I don't say that lightly, and I never say that as flattery. Like, it's not like a standard that I hand out with like each reading kind of thing. But this one, like, yes, you've done that. You might have even spent some lives as a guide to others. You have the ability to help people journey and to connect to their spirit council, and you definitely are someone that if you call in spirit council of, you know, pre-life planning or Akashic records or things of that nature, that they will answer you and help you out when you're trying to help others, like, find guidance and spiritual advice. And I feel like that too with other deities, as long as you're respectful and there, again, there's no, you know, stealing of things or anything. As long as you're respectful to other people, I feel like other deities might really be okay with you helping them if, like, you're counseling a person who needs help with their spiritual path. Maybe it's not your same path, but the beings of their path will be open and letting you help be kind of a conduit. So with the air here, you can be a good conduit and a channeler to help people get the information they need, even when you have no clue about that information, because you can open yourself up in a pure way and take away any ulterior motive, because you're very good at reading yourself and others with discernment, and right, hear no evil, see no evil, tell no evil, and trying to stay in an authentic place. And so you can channel in untainted information, and that's that Queen of Cups there receiving the message. So that's really awesome. All right, so now let's look into some of the cards that Baby Magic got, you guys, little witchy baby. She and two of these are cards that were like the extra cards in decks that I have set aside, and she just really thought that you guys should see them. So we talked about legacy and gifts that are passed down, and isn't this beautiful? And this reminds me of the movie that has Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz in it. What's it called? It's like basically about past lives and stuff, and it follows them throughout past lives. And there's like this tree that he's on in between his past lives, and it's like the tree of life basically, and it's floating through, you know, I guess outside of time, but seemingly through space or whatever. And this is what that reminds me of, is this. And in the center of it is that heart there, you know, heart space and the doorways to other realms. You have people and unicorns. Actually, today's National Unicorn Day. I was like, what? There's a day for everything, but I love unicorn energy. But that was, I saw at the grocery store, it was like unicorn cakes, and so it's jumping out at me that there's unicorns here. But it's very pure. Sorry, it's not focusing. Pure energy here. So, and kind of like the rainbow bridge, right? The rainbow bridge to cross. So I thought that was a beautiful tie in to this energy, the downloads that you get and the legacy that's handed down to you, and the empowerment and the messages you send up, and it all being connected as a part of one working tree. You are always connected. You can't lose connection when you are literally part of that same tree, as the spirit world, as all of those who've come before you, as all the medicine and energy that you need from the universe. You are that energy. It's part of the same system. And so that's so beautiful. This one is actually just the card back. So this is the glyph of the tarot of the she, and this is it's like a galactical fairy energy basically, and that was one. So for some of you that will really speak, for some of you those are some of the counsel that's been coming in to help you, and so I did want to acknowledge it. Also, it has the similarity there of the labyrinth, of the fingerprint of unlocking our own mysteries within ourselves, and that are reflected kind of in the greater universe. So some of you I think are very universal minded. We started off here with that full reverse, the higher spirit realm. So when I'm talking to spirit energies or guides, ancestors, I notice quite often they show the reversals when they are saying that they are downloading information. So it's not a negative positioning of it. And these kind of readings that I do, they're saying we are sending to you information from the higher realms. And so I feel like a lot of you might even have space connections and be able to connect to star constellations and planets, planetary energies and the beings of those. And that's why we had this. And it's that energy that, just like the fingerprint, like, have you studied those those things in like astronomy, where like the universe has like certain aspects of it look like the brain, like how our brain looks when we're thinking, or, you know, things like that, or like certain galaxies or nebulae will look like eyes, or, you know, things like that. Like, we are reflected in the stars are reflected in us. And I thought that was a beautiful tie together cosmic message to come through, Baby Magic. So let's see. So then she went and drew a lot of cards from the Seeds of Shakti Oracle, and I'll connect them all below. And look what she got. She got the third eye chakra here, which is perfect because we've literally, I mean, she didn't know what this reading was about, but right there, discernment, the higher aspect of the Fool reversed, and like bam, it says, with eyes closed your truth is revealed. So do not doubt your sight. Do not doubt, even before your waking eyes, lucid dreaming, right? You are very cognizant of what is, claircognizant perhaps, right, of what is going on, and being able to see visions of things. So again, if you feel like, oh, did I just imagine that? Oh, there was my ring. It's probably something that's actually pertinent spiritually. You have Buddha. It says, be mindful, be detached, be compassionate, right? Mindful. So what is your mind full of? What are the messages that you let your mind have? And that reminds me, one of the elders talking about how, and it's been said in many different ways, I've heard similar people come to this conclusion, like your mind is an altar. And how can you go and perform ceremony or receive messages or give offerings to the spirit world if your mind is cluttered? You know, what are those cobwebs, those worries, those frustrations that are piling up onto your altar, maybe even physically, because you guys have that connection physically, that are crowding you being able to have work, to do spiritual work. Hopefully you can't hear that, someone's hollering outside. We have censor, release to create sacred space within. So yes, the altar, creating a sacred working space, allowing yourself to create spiritually within the physical realm as within the spiritual. So I feel like a lot of you do need to have an actual physical spiritual place, whether that is you go somewhere else. I just heard someone goes to maybe the graveyard and they do their prayers and they connect with their ancestors. You know, some of you it's a park or particular tree. Some of you it is, you know, you might have a room that you can go to, or wherever that is. It could be the library, wherever is a place that you feel like you can go and pull out, you know, some of your sacred items or do your journaling and just sit there and be at peace and feel safe and be able to connect with the sacred inside of you. It is important that you have that physical representation outside of yourself. We have monsoon, navigate the waves of the unknown. And I feel like that's you riding the waves of all these downloads and these informations that you're given. A lot of you also have pre-sight for natural disasters and are weather readers. You know, you could have energy connected to water and scrying. Yes. I see. And we talked about animals too. I'm forgetting, I teach divination. I'm so sorry. I have this little cold. I'm forgetting a lot of terms, but maybe it's because I am feeling research in libraries. I feel like some people, they're wanting you to go and research and have like this joy of discovery, which is the full reverse of them connecting the dots for you. But there is a term and I forget what it's called, but it's basically old school, right? Where you do divination from animals. So you're out on the land and the animals that come to you, how they move, how they communicate with each other, how they go. And it's the most legit, most connected, most like going back to your root stuff ever. It's beautiful. You get, oh my gosh, it's just being, you know, existing as another being, equal sentient being on this planet. So some of you are very good at that and are very spoken to in that way as well. We also have Diwali. Embrace the darkness, let your inner light shine. So some of you, we talked about these universal energies, are wise enough to know that love and light are not the only things that make up the entire energy, right? Time, love, light within this realm. Well, love makes up everything, but as far as like light and the rainbow of colors, like there are colors we don't see in this realm. There's dark matter and dark energy. There's so many secrets of the universe that have been villainized and hidden from us because they're without of the matrix. So like I said, this group goes deep, and some of you are way into those secrets. You're way out there into the universe and channeling in these secrets. So embrace that energy, it says, and let that inner light is what you don't want to go out. That's how we phrase it. It's not an actual light that you have to be afraid of. You know, we don't have to be afraid of the night, you know, or the unknown. And then we have Kali. Endings create space for rebirth, and some of you are definitely channeling in that energy of that threshold energy of endings and beginnings. So some of you are really going to have a gift of talking to new spirits who are ready to incarnate, and some of you will have a gift of ushering those who need to depart and release that as they're passing on, living in the physical realm to their descendants. And as they're departing, you will be able to counsel people through loss and be like grief doulas. So I'm seeing spiritual doulas, psychic doulas, and this is work that I've done and do, which is you can see and get communication of souls that want to come in, and you can see and get communication from souls that are leaving, or be able to check in as they're leaving their process and see if there's more that we can do to help them peacefully pass on and things of that nature. So this group, it has amazing energy. I'm so thankful to my amazing, phenomenal baby who they have all those gifts. All we have to do is guide them and not get them off, you know, their own authentic path. And so for some of you, that's the perfect example to see, to trust with your young ones, to trust yourself as a baby psychic or a baby magical worker. You know, trust your gifts and your intuition. And so let me know how this connects for you, and, you know, share as much as you feel comfortable, connect with each other, support each other. And I will put all the links down below. I have links for personal readings, for tips, donations, things of that nature. I get that question often down below. And go ahead and drop any ideas if there's any particular questions that you want to do readings about. I am definitely open to that and have a ongoing list, and we'll get into that as soon as I'm led to do that type of reading by spirit. And I'm like, okay, it's all, you know, synced up with it. That's the flow. So I will definitely consider your request. So let me know how you connected with this. I'm really excited to hear. And please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I will talk to you soon. I'm so sorry, I'm back for a minute. Your song, oh my God. Your song was Do I Move You by Nina Simone. And now that's not as strictly as like headspace psychic-y as the other songs were that came up for the other two groups. However, we know that Nina Simone was a high priestess, okay? She was Pisces, she had 12th house planets, she was changing things in this world. A lot of her songs have a magical connotation to them. You know, she was just powerful in all ways. And oh, she is such a good example because she was spiritually and psychically very powerful, and yet at the same time she was doing changes and work here, you know, leaving a legacy that, as we talked about. And so she came and was part of the Harlem Renaissance and just huge things, right? Huge things, inspiring writers and movements and activism and all just amazing things that needed to be taken care of. And so you guys have the ability to accomplish both. And the song Do I Move You, that's that magical word coming up. She says, do I move you? Are you willing? Do I move you? Is it thrilling? She talks about the answer better be yes. And then she says, that pleases me. She's smooth in that song. She's asking for consent, but she's letting you know, oh, you know I can work this. You know I'm working you, and I know you're gonna say yes. And so that is the energy for you guys to take in. No more fear psychically, no more fear magically. High Council is already like, you can go 0 to 100 if you want to. Like, you know how to do this. You've done it before. The answer better be yes. So hear that as you move forward in a good way, because I feel like you guys are really discerning of yourselves. You work on yourselves and you keep yourself in that pure heart and really try to stay in a good place. All right. So keep on moving to those yes answers in your life. All right, so I'll hopefully leave a message so you know to wait after my goodbye to listen to this tidbit. All right, talk to you later. Bye.